and Sid in the morning. The new show, Mischief and More. 77 WABC and the WABC radio app.
By the way, it's interesting is that Trump says Mueller didn't like him because he turned him down to be the head of the FBI after he fired Comey. The president says that Mueller lobbied for the job and Trump turned him down, and that he wouldn't give him his deposit back for a country club membership that Trump owned, and Mueller was moving, and Mueller wanted $15,000 back, and Trump said no.
Are you serious?
That's good.
That's great.
That's juicy.
Oh, what a great story. That was the great Bill O'Reilly on his weekday Thursday appearance here on the Bernie and Sid show. So if you think that this Mueller-Trump thing isn't personal, well, then you're being naive. That's just the bottom line. But there are some that think there was some teeth to what Mueller said a couple of days ago. And there are others like Bernie and Bill O'Reilly and me, for the most part, that do think it's personal and it's time to move on. Either way, he's the host of MTP Daily on MSNBC and Meet the Press every Sunday. Our dear friend, the great Chuck Todd, for his Friday appearance. Now, Chuck, that's a little bombshell there that O'Reilly dropped on us yesterday, that Mueller is mad that Trump didn't give back his $15,000 for his golf club membership.
Right. The only person that keeps bringing this up is Trump. Trump's told this story. He told me this story. He tells everybody this story because I think he wants people to think it's personal. Whether it is or not, we don't know. We don't have Mueller's side of the story, but Donald Trump not returning club fees and not following a contract is pretty much, from my understanding, par for the course, no pun intended, for all of his country clubs. It's tough to get your money back from a Trump country club.
So, Chuck Todd, listen, you're the man in the know.
Okay.
What did
I lose you guys on that one?
Yeah. We thought I don't know. We apologize for that. Listen.
That's all right.
What was the point?
You guys are quick. You guys are usually ready to bombard me.
We thought you were going to follow up with something substantive.
I caught you mid-water.
You did. Listen.
Yes.
Oh, let me ask you this. Mueller came out the other day, and what seemed to everybody a pointless exercise. He didn't add to anything he already put out in that 448-page report. And my question is this. Adam Schiff, the House Judiciary Chairman, he said, actually he's the Intel Committee Chairman, he said that he had evidence that Trump colluded with Russia. He had evidence. He said it 1 million times. He has solid evidence. Why do you suppose he did not give that to Mr. Mueller?
It's a great question. I mean, look, I think a few people, and Adam Schiff was one of them, helped to contribute to this perception that everything was oversold. I mean, I think, look, a lot of people are trying to figure out Mueller's motive. I think Mueller's motive was pretty clear. I think he thought Bill Barr was unfairly interpreting the report. So he went out there and gave voice to it. I think he also gave voice to it because he doesn't want to publicly testify before Congress. So I think he figured, well, he owed some on-camera statement. That's the second thing. And I think the other part is he's trying to get people to care again about the Russian interference aspect of this. And I think this is the part of this that I think I don't understand what the Democrats are doing here. If they had a political bone and sense in their body on this one, they would be introducing bills every day to criminalize foreign interference in presidential elections. Every day you introduce a bill, if this is as serious as it is, and I think a lot of people think it's serious, I think that's one of the motivations of why Mueller came out, then put pressure on Republicans, put pressure on Trump to sign these bills into law, to pass these bills into law. Every other way, when they're not focused on trying to stop foreign interference in American elections, then it looks like all they care about is a political win. That all they're looking for is to take a lump out of Trump, rather than at least pretending that your focus, your number one focus, maybe they really just want to get Trump in that, whatever. But you'd be in an awful lot better place if it looked like every day you cared about criminalizing foreign interference in presidential elections.
There you have it, Chuck Todd.
That, to me, is the baton, is what the Democrats have really, I think, messed up in this entire episode of the last month.
Oh, well, let's get to the meat of it then, which is And I think it is personal. I think it has nothing to do with anything else other than we don't like Trump. We want to get rid of him.
Look, Trump, I will say this. I think the biggest, you may be right. Maybe things get personal. Trump tries to personalize everything. And I think there is no way every time you take the bait and get personal with Trump, Trump wins. You know, when you try to play his game, Trump wins.
No, he's proven that. There's no doubt. So, but the question now becomes, and Pelosi has kind of balked at this a couple of times, and even Biden, by the way, has not gone there. He knows he's running against Trump, and he wants to win, so he's not going to get involved in this nonsense. So the people seemingly at the very top don't even want to talk about impeachment. Everybody else wants to get it done. What do you think? Do they go ahead with impeachment proceedings, or does Pelosi stop short there?
I think Pelosi is trying to run out the clock, right? I think she is trying to buy time. I think she's never going to admit she's going to take it off the table. I think she wants to get cut to September 15th and say, September 15th. We've already had 2 presidential debates. We're about to have a 3rd presidential debate. The American people are going to make their decision about Donald Trump. And at the same time, then Congress is going to hold him accountable where they can, or something like that. I think that's what she's trying to do. I don't know if she can hold this back a little bit, because I think Democrats are in this weird spot. I compared it to the last time the Democratic Party had sort of this kind of political versus their base vote was Iraq. And Democrats, the Iraq war vote, came in the fall of 2002, September of 2002, and October of 2002. Democrats held essentially a 1-seat majority in the Senate. And they were petrified of losing their majority in the Senate. But the liberal wing of the party didn't like the Iraq war. And they vacillated. And you had a bunch of Democrats go ahead, like Hillary Clinton and John Kerry, vote for the war. And within 2 years for Kerry and 6 years for Hillary, that looked like that turned out, what was the politically expedient vote turned out to be the bad vote.
Right. Yes.
I don't know which vote is the bad vote and which one is the politically expedient vote here in impeachment. But it's the same. Well, I promise you this. There will be people in 5 years that regret whatever position they have today.
You know, you just made a light bulb.
And that is going to be an interesting thing to watch, I think, with the Democrats.
It just dawned on me. Maybe that's what Adam Schiff is waiting for, the impeachment hearings, to produce that evidence. He said that Trump colluded with the Russians during the impeachment hearings. He didn't want to give it to Mueller. He's saving it. It's in his back pocket. One last quick question.
Moment.
Hey, this Mueller probe, of course, was about Russian meddling. My question to you, Chuck Todd, is how come Mueller didn't look into the origins and the use of that fake Russian dirty dossier?
We don't know that he didn't. I mean, there's been this assumption that that somehow the origins weren't looked into. I mean, I think people have jumped to some conclusions that aren't there. Look, I think it's politically convenient on the right to have the Steele dossier be more prominent, and I think it's politically convenient on the left to have the Steele dossier non-existent as far as that's concerned. But I think we don't know the reality of the dossier, but it is under investigation by the Inspector General.
Yeah.
All right.
I think let that go.
Right.
Until we find that out, and then we'll start yelling at each other.
All right. Who's coming up on Sunday? Who's the big guest on Meet the Press?
All right. I'm not sure if I'm allowed to promote it yet, so I'm not going to, but it's somebody that I will tell you this. It's somebody that the president frequently talks about on his Twitter feed, but it's not Bob Mueller.
It ain't going to be Michael Avenatti.
No.
No, it's not going to be Michael Avenatti, but I promise you it's somebody you will both love watching, and you might throw a shoe at. But that's on one of the guys.
Great.
Good tease.
All right, Chuck. Bye. Every single day, MTP Daily, 5 o'clock on MSNBC, and, of course, NBC Meet the Press on Sundays. As always, Chuck, terrific job, buddy. Thank you so much.
Thanks, brothers.
All right, Chuck Todd, the great Chuck Todd. We'll take a short break. When we get back, the Mets lose another one on the left coast last night. Yankees, they get rained out. They'll host Boston today. And who won Game 1 of the NBA Finals? It's all coming up in the Blitz.
Bernie and Sid in the morning, 77 WABC.